I know that this has provoked a big reaction from the international community.
Yes.
And obviously sparked a lot of concern and sadness from a lot of people around the world, because a lot of them consider these artefacts not only Maldivian national heritage but world heritage.
Yes.
And a lot of them are reminded of the destruction of the Buddhas of Bamyan by the Taliban in Afghanistan in 2001.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
On February 7th, after 20 days of violent protests, on what would prove to be the most chaotic day in Maldivian history, President Mohamed Nasheed, the first democratically elected president in Maldivian history, was deposed at gunpoint by opposition groups backed by the former 30-year dictator Maumoon Abdul Gayoom. In the security void, religiously motivated vandals seized the opportunity to ransack the Maldives National Museum, where pre-Islamic Buddhist relics were on display to the public.
We're here in the capital city of Malé, in the Maldives, at the National Museum, where 7 days ago, religious fundamentalists took advantage of a chaotic security situation during a major political coup to gain entrance into the museum and destroy several relics from the pre-Islamic period. We're here to find out more.
So can you tell me what exactly happened on February the 7th?
Well, February the 7th itself is a day that all Maldives will remember as a very terrifying day for all of us, because there was a lot of political uprisings happening in that day, and there were many clashes happening on the roads itself. So it was actually in an emergency state. The whole of Maldives was in an emergency state during that time. This is said to be the national flag and moon rocks that were brought back from the moon after man's first landing on the moon, where they took the flags of many of the countries in the world. And it says that this is gifted by President Nixon, who was the president of USA during that time. And these are said to be the small 4 moon rocks that were brought back and gifted.
And do you know how many years of Buddhist civilization existed in the Maldives before it was converted to Islam?
We don't actually know the actual amount of years, but we find that the Maldives have been inhabited ever since 500 BC. And the first evidence of Buddhist artifacts, they are coming from around the 6th century itself. But we have found some structures, ruins, dating back to around 350 to 250 BC.
How many of the Buddhist artifacts were actually damaged?
Around 26.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a significant proportion of the whole collection?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
I would say that it's about 90% of the whole ancient collection that we have, that is from before the Islamic period.
Right.
The ancient collection itself, the pre-Islamic collection, they are all dated to before the 12th century, and these are all made from coral stone and limestone, and these are materials that are very brittle by nature itself. So these artifacts, these are centuries old, and therefore even a single slight touch could put significant damage.
So it's very tragic
Yeah.
in that perspective. And I understand that the collection, they came from many different areas in
Yes,
the Maldives.
absolutely. These are from all over the Maldives, from many different islands. As we find in history that the whole of Maldives was once a Buddhist country.
Yes.
So even in uninhabited islands today, we find evidence that people lived there once.
Among the artifacts that were destroyed is the 6-faced coral stone stela. Standing 3.5 feet tall, it had examples of ancient writings carved onto its sides. It was completely shattered and is considered irreparable. Found on the island of Malé, this piece was split into 5 to 10 large pieces, along with several smaller pieces. Experts feel it can be restored. This one was shattered into rubble and cannot be repaired. This Buddha was the oldest in the collection, dating back to the 6th century. Its interior consisted of rounded coral covered in a very powdery lime plaster. Considered one of the major losses, it was very badly damaged in the ransacking and is considered impossible to repair. These coral caskets were also destroyed. They were once used to store pearls, gold foliage, red corals, and other valuables. Nearly all of the caskets on display were destroyed. One wonders why the vandals would attack anything without the image of Buddha. However, they targeted anything from the pre-Islamic period. Any artifacts depicting Buddha, they just smashed.
This is one of the few artifacts that are remaining after the incident on 7th February 2012. This is one of the few artifacts from the ancient exhibition. And this language itself is the same script that was used in India and Sri Lanka during the same time that this is from, before the 6th century. And this shows evidence that the people of Maldives used the same script and speaking language that was used in Sri Lanka and India during those days.
What did happen that day?
Well, the museum exhibitions were closed for the public during that day regarding the turmoil or the political uprising that was going on. And we figured out that it would be the best for the museum. But even though the people actually invaded the museum and ransacked the museum itself, and this group of people, when they first started to enter the museum, the security guard at the entrance of the museum tried to stop them, and he had been attacked. And they dragged him across inside the museum, and then they started to just destroy everything inside the pre-Islamic or ancient exhibition. And we all of the footage was caught on camera because the whole museum itself is CCTV cameras. And they came with large rocks and they started shattering, destroying everything. And after that, they actually pushed down some of the stands that were used to display the artifacts. And they even took some of the stands and started destroying artifacts with the stand itself. And as I recall, many of the employees that were working here during that day, mainly women, and they were very much terrified because of this incident. They were terrified, they were screaming and crying, and they did not know what was going on. So it was mentally damaging for these people who were working as employees.
Oh.
Yeah.
And how long did it take place?
Well, it's actually amount of 10 minutes when they first came to the museum. They just destroyed everything and they went away. And they were caught when they came a second time.
They came back?
Yes.
The same day?
Yes. This was around 11:25, mainly around 15 to 20 minutes later. And the second time they came, they actually threatened many of the employees here. Because at first when they invaded, they did not have the thought of the CCTV cameras recording everything. So when they came the second time, they thought about the cameras and they came directly to destroy the camera system itself. And they actually held our director by the neck and they asked him where the camera system was, and he did not reply. He didn't say a single word. And then they went towards another employee of the museum and they asked him where the camera system was. And he said that it is in the security room, but the room is locked. And the employee in charge of the security room, he wasn't here. So then they started going towards other employees. And then they found out there were some artifacts that hadn't destroyed. And then once again they started destroying the artifacts. And during that time, while they were at it, our director and one of the other employees working here, they ran down out of the office, and luckily a jeep full of police officers, they were passing by the road in front of the museum, and they stopped and they arrested these people.
So they're going to be punished, these people?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
In regard to damaging government property, definitely. And also regarding the damage, significant damage they had done to the heritage, we hope that they get.
Do you know?
Yes, they were arrested, but in the Maldivian law, a person can be arrested for more than 24 hours. But regarding the evidence that the police have got from the videos, they were all on the CCTV cameras. they will be arrested for the crimes they have committed.
They will be tried.
Yes, certainly. But otherwise they will remain free till then.
So they're at large somewhere
Yeah.
in the Maldives. Is there anything else you'd like to add, to talk about?
Well, I've given my point of view about the whole incident itself and how it all could have been solved if only a simple measure of thought had been taken into account.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم